top 4 match. It's Jesse Kotton. It's Vincent Wong. The dice have been rolled, and it looks like Vincent will be going first, a 5 versus an 11.
We don't know that he'll be going first. We know that he gets to choose. So he may choose to go second like he did last round.
Looks like he did, in fact, choose to go first. And you see a grip of Bestials in the hand, but starts his turn with a normal summon of Nimble Beaver. This will let him special summon a Nimble Beaver from the deck, but Jesse is going to immediately stop that with Herald Orange Light, discarding a Yugioh. He sees the Nimble Beaver.
Oh.
He knows his opponent's not on tier. We're going to be C-Mill 5 from both players.
So we have tier element Scream, and I believe that's Mudora.
Yep, Mudora, Scream, and then Terraforming, Instant Fusion, Herald Orange Light. On the other side, we see Starter, Red, Blue, Magma, and Ash Blossom.
Nothing relevant sent to the graveyard by Vincent. I'm sure he was hoping for a Nimble Angler.
Yeah, that would have been useful. The only thing that he is gaining from all this is he does have, I was able to tell he had a couple of Bestials in his hand, so at least there are getting some monsters in the graveyard that'll let him summon from the hand. Maybe he won't do it on turn 1 unless he has the Magnament, but he did mill a Magnament as well. But Jesse's 5, not the greatest either. No really tier limit names, just a Scream to grab a trap and a Medora, but nothing else from Vincent. The Herald Orange Light completely shutting off his turn. Yeah, devastating.
I'm a little surprised he chose to go first, since we saw him choose to go second last round.
We're seeing why he chooses to go second, probably.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking.
And so it looks like Jesse's starting things off with Sharon discarding Rhino Heart, and then he'll mill 3, so he's going to be able to use either Rhino Heart in the grave, tier element Scream, or the Havness that he milled. He also milled a Bestial Magnamut, but that's just going to be a monster sitting in the graveyard for now.
We have a couple options now for Jesse.
1, 2, 3.
Yep, he's going to do Scream and Havness at least. I didn't see what else he pointed to.
I think that's it.
So Scream's going to add Crime.
We'll see what he fusion summons.
Putting back the Magnamut and the Havness, so imagine this is going to be a Muddy Mud Dragon. 2 monsters, the same attribute with different types. Is it the last one?
I'd love to ask Vincent after the tournament, what makes you choose whether to go first or second? What do you consider?
Maybe it's the opponent. He's like, oh no, I'm playing Jesse Kotton. I can't let him go first.
Maybe.
All right, so then he's going to follow up by normal summoning Rhino Heart and activating the effect. So he discarded Soliak. So he's going to add Merrily. So he did activate the Rhino Heart. He didn't. Sorry, this wasn't a normal summon for Rhino Heart. He did trigger the one he milled to summon it back from the graveyard. And then when it summons back, he discards Soliak, and now Soliak will add Merrily, and Rhino Heart will send Havness from the deck to the graveyard. So now on a new chain, he can trigger the Havness unless it is met by a Bestial from Vincent's hand. Doesn't look like he's even going to trigger the Havness. Just going to move to normal summon the Merrily.
He'll send the top 3 cards of his deck to the graveyard. We have Keldo. I believe the second one's a Mudora. And the third is a Havness?
Havness indeed. And you can see there's so much more time here in the top 4. We already get to 55 minutes in the semifinals. We'll move to 65 minutes in the finals. So some of these players are banking on maybe using a life gaining effect in time. Not going to be the case. But it does look like Bestial Saronir is going to be activated on Vincent's side, targeting the Havness.
Yeah, these Bestial monsters are incredible against tier elements. It really is usually just a superior DD Crow.
Yeah, especially if you get an effect once they're on the field, for sure. But now Jesse's met with the decision. Does he want to use his Medora to shuffle back his own Havness to keep that Saronir in Vincent's hand? Alternatively, if he's planning on fusion summoning again with a different name, he could save it if he wants to wait. Maybe thinking Vincent's holding off on using Bestial Magnamut. But it looks like he's not going to wait and just use it right now to keep that Saronir in hand. Maybe Jesse's focusing on going for game with an open board on Vincent's side of the field.
Oh, that is possible. I actually forgot that this is the second turn of the duel.
You're ready. You're ready for
battle
Vincent.
phase.
You're ready for Vincent to choose to go second. So that makes a lot of sense.
Maybe he chooses to go first in the first duel, and then after side decking.
Catch him off guard. That is a lot of times where you can, because you're in a side deck for choosing to go first. You're not going to have any of the right cards in.
Yeah, it's a mind game.
No response.
It really is. Mind game within a shadow game. So it looks like he shuffled back the target. So the Bestial Sardinia remains in Vincent's hand. Is Jesse looking at activating Mud Dragon's effect to change the attribute? I'm uncertain. Might just be running some numbers.
Could be.
Nope, he does use the Mud Dragon's effect. We can't hear what attribute he calls, but now he's going to link away the Rhino Heart and the Merrily. The Rhino Heart is banished since it was summoned by its own effect for Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy. So I'm going to guess he chose Dark with the Mud Dragon. So while the Mud Dragon is on the field, he can't target Dark monsters. But Vincent is going to chain his Druisworm to target his own Magnamut, so he won't be able to summon it with the Dark Charmer Gloomy.
I think Jesse probably was going for game there.
Yeah, now he has to deal with his Druisworm on the opponent's side of the field. Jesse already has the Mud Dragon and the Sharon, 2 level 4s, so he'll be able to go into Abyss Dweller. But he's going to want to find more from here.
Yeah, Abyss Dweller is not that effective against Spray.
He'll be able to help him deal with the Druisworm on the field, so he won't have to worry about sending the special summon monster. But after that, you're right, except for cutting off like an Angler effect potentially. But it doesn't. He might opt to never even go for the Dweller because of how ineffective it is against the Sprite matchup, as you mentioned.
So we'll see Dark and Sharon used in a Link summon.
Nightmare Unicorn? that's my running joke for the weekend. Every time I see the two go, I'm always making a joke about Nightmare Unicorn being a Link 3, but it's almost usually always another Link 2 monster, and that's Sprite Sprend out of Darkwing Blast, and it's going to send Tier Element's Merrily. So now he can use Merrili's effect to fusion summon.
So we've already seen Vincent use 2 Bestial monster effects from his hand this turn, so it's unlikely he has the third.
You say that.
We'll see.
I did see a decent amount, but there could be doubles up on some of the names. Maybe he had 2 Druisworms and 1 Sarnier, but if he does have the Magnamut in hand, you usually want to save Magnamut last so you can make sure to get it on the field and trigger its effect.
So he's using the effect of Merrily to fuse 2 monsters together. It looks like he's probably going for Kit Kalos. And hoping for a good 5.
Kit Close is going to either add or send. He's used Sharon, or he's used Hovnish, Sharon, and Merrily. Has he used all 3 of his fusion effects? I know for sure he used Merrily and Havness. And I do believe he used Sharon as well, yes.
One was definitely stopped.
And he made 2 fusion summons, so yeah, I think he's out of Tier Element names to use for a fusion summon. And he's going to add Tier Element Scream off the Kictalis.
We'll see if he uses Kit Kalos' effect to send 5 more cards to the graveyard. Maybe he won't because of the fact that he's out of
Yep, just goes to battle.
cards to fuse with. Yep.
This is still fire, right?
Yeah, so it goes destroys the Saronir.
Yeah, this is the Druisworm. So the Druisworm sends the Sprite Sprend to the graveyard when it was sent to the graveyard. He can only send Sprite Sprend because the can't target Dark, so he's not going to be able to send down the Mud Dragon or the Kictalos.
Jesse will play Scream in main phase 2. It's kind of like Magnificent Map, where if they want normal summons, things might get a little crazy.
So we are seeing the Kictalos bring back the Merrily, so he's going to mill 5 for Kictalos, 3 for Merrily, and 3 for Scream. One at a time. So he mills 8.
Wow, we have a Yugioh, Mudora,
A Yugioh,
Kelbeck.
a Druisworm, another copy of Kelbeck, and a Heartbeat.
And we might see a lot more cards sent to the graveyard.
You see Jesse counting?
Counting his deck?
He wants to see if he wants to trigger.
Is he concerned? If he's concerned about the number of cards in his deck, I think Vincent should be concerned about how he's going to win this duel.
Exactly. It looks like he is going to trigger the Kelbeck and the Yugioh.
There goes
That's
10 more cards from each player. Vincent could trigger an Angler, which may help him.
So mill 10 total, right?
see things that matter on Jesse's side. Keldo, another Keldo, another Kelbeck. I didn't see what Vincent milled, but I'm sure there's a ton of cards that really aren't going to be too impactful. I guess Angler would be the only one that matters. But you see 2 Beavers.
Instead, he loses all his Beavers.
Couple of copies of Infinite Permanence, Sprite Starter.
Yeah, there go 2 Beavers, and he normal summoned 1 on his first turn. So that's all 3.
Yes, that's fine.
So he does still have the Sharon effect. I thought he might have 1. And now Rukalos.
Sure.
Gonna set a face down. The Sprite Elf is pointing at Rukalos. Another face down next to that.
Man phase.
Looks like he's gonna activate Keldo's effect in the graveyard. Going to put back Hovness. You're worried about, how many cards in his deck. Maybe wants to refill his deck with some tier element names so he can send them to the graveyard during his opponent's turn. And he's going to put the Dark back into his extra deck.
Why not? It's not doing anything in the graveyard. Oh, he looks like he's reconsidering. Perhaps he doesn't think he'll need access to that Dark once again.
Sure.
He's going to put the red back.
It's interesting how the tier element players can use the Ishizu monsters to just try to improve their draw, the cards they draw.
Yeah, they're really versatile in that sense. You can use them to cut off your opponents, make your deck a little bit better, replenish resources. Definitely powerful cards.
Yeah, it feels like such a marginal benefit to add 3 more cards to your full deck. But I guess once the numbers in the deck get low enough, 3 cards is significant.
Indeed it is. And looks like now the play is back to Vincent. He will draw for his turn, draws to 4 cards in hand. He still has that Sorinir that remained in his hand from the previous turn.
You got it.
And Vincent just concedes.
Yeah, doesn't have really any way to get going, just the Sorinir. Sorinir, one of the Beast Seals that doesn't really do anything on its own, unless you're playing copies of Beastal Lubellion. Could you send that down and maybe summon it back, but Jesse now 1 game a win from making it all the way to the finals. I believe he made it to the finals of YCS Niagara.
Yes, Niagara Falls, he lost to Raymond Dye, right?
Yep, I think so. So
Exosisters.
definitely hungry for another YCS win. I think he's a 3-time champion. I don't know if he has 2 YCSs in UDS, or I think it's 2 YCSs in UDS. And he's a multi-time Worlds competitor.
Yes, I had spoken to him extensively at Worlds in previous years when I was there doing commentary.
Yeah, I actually played Jesse in the last round of the World Championship I competed in 2017.
Wow.
It was like on the very last round. I was X2, he was X11, and my only chance to make it into the top 8 was to win the match. And unfortunately, he would have been locked in had he beat me. But I ended up taking the game and getting 12th place. my tiebreakers weren't quite good enough there. Despite I lost to the guy who won the whole thing in the first round. But that's neither here nor there. But just talking about it, Jesse has been to the World Championship many times. I believe he made top 8, though, the following year after that one.
You never get over some of those bad beats.
You never do. that one stung, yep. But Vincent, down but not out. Just because you lose game 1 doesn't mean you're out of the match. We saw Hani against Pac earlier. Hani lost game 1, was able to take the back 2. This is what we were talking about before the game started. Is he going to go first, or is he going to go second?
I don't know. We'll see. It's funny, I spoke with Vincent in the player interview after winning the last round, and you know how some players are just so confident when they've won their match that they are going to take down the tournament. Vincent was not one of those players.
He's just happy to be here. He's here for the ride. Yeah. I think a lot of players who didn't bring the Yugioh tournament deck, that's kind of what their mentality was going in the weekend. Like, I know my deck, I'm comfortable with it, I'm going to do the best I can with what I'm playing with. And you know, it pays off. Just because there is a deck that is dominant and does so much doesn't mean you can't still get by with your own strategy. It could be a little harder than if you use the OP deck, but definitely still promising.
Yeah, let me tell you, as a Sprite duelist, and a duelist who's experienced with the Sprite deck, I acknowledge that the tournament deck is probably stronger, but if I were to play in this tournament, I would use Sprite because I'm comfortable with it, and I'd rather play that deck well than play a complicated tournament deck poorly.
That is very true. And that's a lot of trap that a lot of players fall into is you think the deck is going to do all the work for you. No.
It won't. The deck will not always carry you, especially in a format like this where the duels can become so complicated.
Unless you're playing Time Wizard and you, for some reason, decide to play Photon Shockwave era format and you're playing Dino Rabbit, in which case your deck can carry you. That's one of the only decks that I've encountered through the Yu-Gi-Oh history where that little Rescue Rabbit bunny just hip-hop out of the way.
I'm still a fan of Rescue Rabbit. I use it in my Gladiator Beast deck.
I ended up winning a YCS with Rescue. I won a YCS with Rescue Rabbit and Clifford Scout in my main deck, actually. But that is neither here nor there. Let's jump into game number 2 of our top 4 match.
Now is the moment we find out. Oh, it looks like Vincent was letting Jesse go first.
You can go first. Let's see if this pays off for him here, trying to catch Jesse off guard.
That's the confidence I like to see, Vincent. He was so sure he wanted Jesse to go first.
Starts off with
we'll see if it works out.
Feral Rhino, and he's going to be able to add a tier limit monster. Already not a good start here for Vincent, but we'll see where Jesse can go from here. Now you mentioned, Vincent, you saw a lot of those disruption effects from the hand. We'll have to see how many you drew and if it's going to be enough to cut Jesse off from really getting things going.
I think I already see an Ash Blossom in his hand. He chose not to use it on Perlarino. Maybe didn't want to be vulnerable to Gamma.
Oh, he's going to use it for the Sharon, so he lets him search it and then keeps the Sharon in the hand. Smart.
Okay. So Gamma was not a consideration then.
Jesse normal summons Rhino Heart.
He'll activate its effect. I'm not sure what else is in Vincent's hand. I only saw the Ash Blossom because it was on top.
I think I at least saw a Bestial. There's a Jet, a Beaver. Couldn't tell what the other two were. Jesse's going to send Tier Element Haviness to the graveyard with Rhino Heart's effect.
If there is, in fact, a Bestial,
we'll see it here.
We will likely see it.
Nope.
Oh, Skullmeister!
A card that is going popular this weekend for this kind of exact scenario where you get to use it and just to stop that one fusion effect.
Not quite as good as a Bestial here, but definitely gets the job done.
Yep, good enough to leave Jesse just on a Rhino Heart, one back row, and a Perlino. Definitely not a strong start. Vincent choosing to go second, paying off.
Yes, because Jesse's field is not that impressive.
Let's see if Vincent is going to get things started. I see a Beaver and a Jet.
Yeah, that's already enough to get things started if the summon of the Beaver goes through.
All right, no Herald of Orange Light, but does have the Haviness. So Haviness is going to summon and mill 3 cards, hits Suliak and Keldo. So now he's going to have a little bit of disruption from the graveyard to shuffle back.
Could have been a lot worse, though. It could have been multiple tier limit monsters.
Yeah, the Keldo shuffling back from the graveyard doesn't disrupt too much against the Sprite deck. Maybe you're going to cut them off from what they're trying to bring back with Sprite Elf or something, but not as impactful it is against the Shizu tier limit mirror match.
He's going to summon Nimble Angler with his Beaver.
Let's see what Jesse decides to add from the Suliak.
Goes for Merly.
Ending on resolution? No. Special carrot?
Oh, with Carrot down, now he has negation for whatever Jesse's back row is.
You can use it.
A quick carrot might catch Jesse Kotton off guard.
At the moment, he can negate a Speller Trap effect, but he can't destroy it if it's a continuous one, because he doesn't have an Ixies or Link monster to tribute.
Sprite Jet is going to be special from the hand, allowing him to add a Sprite card from a Sprite spell from his deck to the hand.
He'll get the Sprite Smashers.
A spell or trap. You can also grab double cross if you're playing it.
Certainly can.
Vincent, the last hope for the non-tier limit decks. A lot of pressure here on him, but it looks like he's pretty calm, pretty cool. Going to link away the 2 monsters for Sprite Sprint.
Summon fine?
I expect there's another Angler in the deck because he's going to use the Sprint's effect. Sprite Sprint is just a means to turn 2 monsters into 3.
Yeah, Sprite Sprint, a fantastic card out of Darkwing Blast. Really, it helps Sprite a lot. It bridges if you want to play Sprite and tier elements, and it's also just good in tier elements without the Sprite cards as well. All around a fantastic link monster.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Sprite Sprint has achieved its purpose and now gets to be used as an Xyz material to summon gigantic Sprite.
Yep, so his attack's going to be doubled since he has an extra deck monster underneath it as a material. Going to try and activate the effect. Does Jesse have any response?
He says sure. We'll keep the Sprint under there so that the gigantic Sprite keeps its attack points. And here comes Sprite Blue.
Sprite Blue is going to allow him to add a Sprite monster when it's summoned.
Adding red.
Going to add Sprite Red.
I haven't seen Vincent put a lot of stock in the strategy of summoning Totally Awesome with Sprite Elf. I think he has a very different approach than most Sprite duelists.
Yeah, it seems that way. And now he overlays for the Soul Sweeper, special summon Sprite Red. That looks like the Ultra Soul Sweeper out of Magnificent Mavens also.
Yeah, it's a nice card. We only had a common before that.
Yeah, it's a quick rarity upgrade too. It didn't come out too long ago. I think it was in Dimension Force.
That's true. I remember it being fairly recent. So he will banish Havness with Onibimaru. Now Vincent's in control.
Going to see another overlay here for a rank 2 Cat Shark.
Cat Shark. Oh man, he wants to bring the gigantic Sprite up to 6,400.
He's looking to double the attack and end Jesse quick. So maybe this is why he chooses to go second. He knows it's the Cat Shark OTK. Cat Shark, Gigantic Strike, Soul Sweeper. The whole team's here.
Yeah, gigantic Sprite's original attack is 3,200 due to its effect. And Cat Shark threatens to double it.
Okay, so Jesse does have a form of disruption with the Keldo targeting his Havness. So when he puts it back, it's going to trigger his Paralino.
Oh boy.
So he does have something here.
So he was probably reading to see if the carrot can negate the effect of Perlarino.
I imagine that is what he was checking on. And now he looks like he's targeting Suliak and Havness and his opponent's Nimble Angler.
So let's see. So I think Vincent will have an opportunity to chain the effect of Carrot, but I think that would cost him enough attack points that he may not be able to win this turn. Since he'd have to tribute a monster.
Other than the carrot, right? So it would have to be one of the bigger ones.
Yes, he can't tribute the carrot.
Or the Soul Sweeper. Soul Sweeper's not too big.
Right,
Oh,
but
just
it's...
those? I'm so sorry.
It's 3. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were chain banish.
Oh, he's chaining Sprite Smashers so he can banish the Jet. He's going to probably try and get rid of the Paralino, the Rhino. Yep, going after that field spell, so this point of disruption won't do anything. He doesn't have to negate it since he's able to banish.
Oh, sorry. I made this.
Yeah, he can't banish a Sprite monster from his hand, so he's going to have to do a level 2 or rank 2 from the field. If he gives up the carrot...
The Suliak's back online.
Yes, will he have enough attack points then?
No.
I mean, no, then if the Suliak's online, he's not going to be able to finish Kotton off. So yeah, he is giving up the carrot. I think that may have been a misstep by Vincent. I think in his mind, he could banish the card from his hand and just win.
Yeah, I think if he was going this route, maybe going after the Rhino Heart would have been better. Because he loses. Because then he loses a monster, and he still can't do anything either. It's tough for him either way, I think. Unless this is enough. Taking a moment to see if he can negate it. Cat Shark, a card I first encountered playing against Paleozoics back in the day. I was like, oh wow, they can do a lot of damage, surprisingly.
I had never actually encountered Cat Shark until it became used for this purpose.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Joshua Schmidt let me know what that card did. I played against a lot of Paleozoic players, but until I encountered Josh, I was like, okay, he's playing this deck on a whole nother level than I've ever seen. But he links the 2 away for Sprite Elf.
Oh, so he's not done after doubling the attack points. He's making the Elf and bringing back the Onibimaru with that.
Interesting.
Does Jesse have Celiac down?
I guess we might not know. I'm just assuming that's what it is, but it could just be nothing.
So Onibimaru would hit for 400 points of damage over the Rhino Heart. 14 from the Elf would be 18, and then 64 would be from the Gigantic Sprite.
And that's enough.
A total of 8,200. So I guess Kotton's card was not helping him, whatever it was face down.
Probably a bluff at this point. I just always assumed maybe it's going to be something live. Like, he didn't search Celiac during the turn. You just have to assume that's his only chance into the game. But Vincent piloting his deck really well. Kind of making Sprite look a la swordsoul, or almost, where you're going second, get to spell summon a bunch of monsters on the board, clear all the opponent's cards, and attack for game. I like it.
Yeah, Cat Shark was instrumental there. I feel like Sprite decks, because they get locked into level link rank 2 monsters, sometimes have trouble dealing 8,000 points of damage in one turn.
That's what I thought about Paleozoics.
Yeah, and Cat Shark solves that problem, because a 6,400 attack Gigantic Sprite is truly gigantic.
A 4,400 attack totally awesome is pretty big as well.
That's pretty big too.
I love Cat Shark. It's a cool one. And Soul Sweeper, definitely an awesome one. I love the artwork on it, and like Destiny Hero Doom Lord effect, but you still attack. You can see how important having that battle phase is here, because you're clearing the things in your way and then being able to go for game. Yeah, really cool.
I think a lot of players have dropped Cat Shark from their extra deck, a lot of Sprite players, in favor of cards that have a little more utility for controlling the field. But I think Vincent may prove this weekend that dropping it is a mistake.
Yeah, the one thing about this format, there's a lot of monster effect negation, a lot of reaction to the opponent's like plays, but if you can just put a bunch of monsters on the field and go into the battle phase, you're usually able to attack over a decent amount of monsters. So I really like that strategy in bringing Cat Shark this weekend, knowing, I mean, we've seen it. His strategy is to choose, you go first, I'm going to kill you with Cat Shark. This isn't by chance. This is a design strategy from Vincent's, it's from his head. It's his ideas, his plan, the way he came in, and now he's here at top 4. You said he didn't have the most confidence of the people you interviewed, but here he is, one game away from moving on to the finals of YCS Pasadena against one of the greatest Yugioh players of all time, Jesse Kotton. Oh, man.
Yeah, so
I'm jealous. I wish I was in Vincent's seat. Not to win, but just to be on this moment to play. Oh.
So now Jesse has the choice of going first or second, so he can side deck appropriately. Is there any world in which he chooses to go second?
I mean, the old soul in me can't let that. I'm going to game 3, top 4, and I have an opportunity to go first. I can't let my opponent go first, even after the way the game went like that. I think he'll have his deck, you mentioned it, configured the right way. He has control over who goes first or second.
Yeah, I mean, he could configure it to go second.
He could, potentially, but I don't know. I just couldn't do it. Game 3 and top 4, I'm not letting my opponent go first. I can't do it. We're about to find out. Let's jump into it. It's not game 1. It's not game 2. It's game number 3.
I think Jesse will agree with you and choose to go first, but we're about to find out. That looks like a couple different Bestial cards in Vincent's hand. That might be really good going second.
2 Bestials is really strong. Now, if you have all 3 different names, that's just phenomenal. Looks like Jesse is starting with Paralino.
So he chose to go first, as you expected, and he will resolve Paralino's effect to add a Tier Limits monster to his hand. And he goes for Rhino Heart.
The OG Rhino Heart.
No.
Next, he uses Sheeran's effect, sending Rhino Heart to the graveyard. And he gets a Yugioh, Keldo, and Tearlament Scream. 3 hits from his 3 cards.
The Yugioh's huge.
Yep.
So we'll probably do chain link 1 Yugioh, or 1 Rhino Heart, 2 Yugioh, 3 Scream, if I saw that correctly. Scream's going to add a trap. He's going to grab Crime. Yugioh's going to mill them both 5.
I have to imagine Vincent's not happy with this, but he does get an Angler.
Do you trigger it during your opponent's turn? I don't think I would. You just lose your beavers, maybe. And now he's going to finish resolving the chain, bringing back the Rhino Heart. Rhino Heart will discard the Soliac from the hand.
Turn of 1.
Looks like he does trigger the Angler.
Yeah, I don't really see why you wouldn't.
4.
What's the worst that can happen to your beavers?
I mean, they're just going to leave the field. I guess it's not that big of a deal. It would just be like one gets destroyed by the planet, the other one gets shuffled back in by Kaleido Heart. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Might as well just summon any. Only summons 1. Might as well. Get a level 2 on the board. Make your opponent forced to use at least part of their turn to deal with it. Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, we don't actually know that anything else is going to be returned to Jesse's deck for him to use Perlerino, because Vincent does have a couple of Bystials in his hand.
That is very true.
He does have that disruption.
I mean, Jesse's sitting on Keldo, Mudora, just milled him merrily as well.
I guess in Jesse's worst case scenario, he can use his Ishizu cards to return cards to his deck and trigger the Perlerino.
It's definitely one of the coolest interactions with the Ishizu cards and the tier cards, how they mash up together and work so well like that.
Jesse's off to a good start, but I wouldn't count Vincent out.
I'll give you odds. I'm just kidding. It's definitely a strong start from Jesse, but Vincent not out of it just yet. Now he's resolving the Rhino Heart on summon effect to send Havnus from his deck to the graveyard. Now on a new chain, let's see what he's going to activate.
New chain links now.
Yep, new chain links. Let's see, he's going to go chain link 1 merrily, chain link 2 Havnus.
Chain link 1 early, chain 2 happens.
Vincent says sure. Either I'm wrong and he doesn't have a Bystial in his hand, or he's saving it for something bigger. Okay, so he summons Kit Kalos.
And then he's going to summon, looks like Garura maybe. Yep, indeed it is Garura.
So make Garura and Kikalos. New chain links.
Now on a new chain, he could trigger Kiktalos and the planet. Primeval Planet is going to target the Beaver, if I had to guess.
Or chain link 1 Kikalos, chain 2 Perlino, target Beaver. And then chain Medora. Scream.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if it was worth summoning the 1 Beaver.
And now Mudora is shuffling back Jesse's copy of Scream and Vincent's Angler and Dimension Shifter. Yeah, put that Dimension Shifter back in the deck. A graveyard full of monsters, that's definitely something he wants to see. And now, oh, see, he shuffled back the Scream so he could add the Scream with the Kiktalos. Heads up play here from Jesse.
Shuffle. Oh, yeah, no, I put the copy. Never mind.
I'm curious to see what Vincent has in his hand to use on the first turn when he finally gets one. to use on his first turn.
Yeah, he's still holding off on those bestials, wanting to stop a key effect. I think he might definitely use one on the last effect that Vincent tries to use, or that Jesse tries to use here.
Yeah, he might just be thinking, I'll use it on the last effects.
Normal summon merrily is going to link away with the Rhino Heart that brought itself back via its own effect, so it's going to be banished, and they're going to link away into Dark, the Dark Charmer, Gloomy.
Lots of options for Dark to take. He aims for the Magnum Hut, and Vincent does chain his own Magnum Hut to banish the Magnum Hut from the graveyard and special summon it.
All 3 Magnum Huts now gone for Vincent. Does Jesse have a response? He could use the Keldo to shuffle back, and it does look like that is what he's going to do. Shuffle back the Magnum Hut, and we'll see what else he targets.
So that just stops Vincent's Magnum Hut from hitting the field, but it will not allow him to resolve Dark's effect and steal the Magnum Hut.
Right, just a little, not as bad. You know, they're not going to have another bestial in hand to add at the end phase there, so you get a little bit of value out of it, but you still don't get that Dark monster to your side of the field. But with that Garura, he'll probably still be able to go into something like Sprite Elf.
And if he does go for Sprite Elf at some point, and if Vincent does in fact have another bestial monster in his hand, that's probably going to be the time he's going to use it, once the Elf targets something to special summon. He's going to use Kid Kalos' effect to special summon Merly, and then Merly's effect, so he'll send the top 8 cards of his deck to his graveyard. 5 for Kid Kalos, 3 for Merly.
So many cards going to the graveyard. Can almost make you scream or cry.
So he sends, it looks like 10 cards actually. What is that, 5 for Kid Kalos, 3 from Merly? Maybe just 5 for Kid Kalos, and maybe there's a Yugioh in there?
No, there's more. Yeah, it's a lot.
But now he's going to use Herald of Orange Light to stop, I believe it's a Saranir.
I think it's, Druid Swarm.
Oh, it's a Gruul Swarm?
Yeah, it's tough to tell.
I always confuse the two when I see them on the screen.
Now all these chains are resolving. He milled 11 there initially from the Kiktalos, the Scream, and the Merly. And now he is summoning Rukalos with the last fusion effect that got to resolve since he was able to Herald of Orange Light that bestial effect from Vincent. So this is a pretty good board here through a couple bestials. Off to a great start from Jesse.
It certainly is.
This is where I'd want to be in game 3 of top 4.
Yeah, he does link summon that Sprite Elf, as you predicted.
And gets to draw from Garura since Garura is sent to the graveyard. It can be sent to the graveyard from anywhere, so if you want to use something like Nadir's Servant on that as well, pretty fantastic. The Elf is going to bring back Herald of Orange Light, a 2-star tuna. Whoa.
Oh, he's going to tune it with Rukalos.
To go for Baron de Fleur. That's something I haven't seen, a synchro with Herald of Orange Light and Rukalos for Baron de Fleur, but definitely paying off here. Baron, one of the best synchro monsters. Level 10, has that Omni Negate, meaning they can negate a spell, trap, or monster effect.
Yeah, being able to negate the activation of anything is one of the most valuable effects.
That
Oh
for free.
man, Vincent drew the Nibble Angler.
Yikes.
I believe Jesse returned that to his deck, right, as a potential dead draw for Vincent.
Definitely made sure he had all the anglers still in the deck.
So that certainly paid off here.
The Baron can't be targeted right now. We're seeing normal summon from Beaver with no effect. Doesn't want the Baron to destroy it, but I'm sure Jesse's going to try and do something to fusion summon here, so he'll be able to trigger his Paralino to get this level 2 monster off the board.
He might just use the Scream and hope he gets a Tier Limits monster. It looks like, oh, he sends the top 3 and one of them's Merly.
They're all good. Man, this deck, it's like playing Lightsworn, but every card is Wolf. It's so funny.
But you also don't mind drawing them.
Yeah, they're wolves that do amazing things in your hand. It's literally just Lightsworn, just on a whole nother level. Lightsworn Shadals on another level for sure.
Oh boy, that was a good 3 cards.
So Elf is targeting Merly.
It looks like Magnum Hut was targeting Merle first, and Elf's Effect will be chained to the Merle.
Now on Merle's summon, Jesse's going to mill another 3. Rhino Heart, does he get a fusion? And a Sharon. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
So he can go into Kaleido Heart. He can go into Kictalos, just use Fairlino to destroy the Nimble Beaver.
I think this is over for Vincent.
It's tough. He's going to need something crazy to come back out of this one.
He's not even keeping the Beaver. I think I saw blue in his hand, which currently can't even special summon because the Beaver is leaving. We know he has an Angler, which is not doing anything for him, and that's it. Jesse Kotton wins the match and advances to the finals once again.
Jesse so close from getting another championship under his belt. Congratulations, Jesse, in the finals. Again, he just was in the finals not too long ago at Niagara, and he is back again with a vengeance. You know, but big congratulations to Vincent. He didn't win the tournament, but he went the furthest with a deck that was a non-Ishizu tournament deck. So that is a victory in and of itself. He's the only one that